Hey guys, welcome to class number 9, month number 9. The topic for this month is strength training, and I want everybody to know that this would be great if it's possible for you to be able to experience some strength training in a local facility if you have a membership. If you don't have a membership, then call the office and we can help you facilitate the experiential part of this particular presentation. But the idea of this presentation is to provide you some of the background information that helps you understand why strength training or resistance training is so important. So let's begin. Again, guys, this is Dr. Dave Harper, your wellness coach and facilitator. It's a pleasure to be with you. Okay. Cardio training is about strengthening our heart, guys, but what about strength training? Why do we want to strengthen our muscles? First of all, we do that in a number of ways. We can do it through weight lifting, stretch and strengthening bands, calisthenics, kettlebells, or machines. The purpose of muscle strengthening is to increase the strength of your muscles. Very simple. Increasing strength means that you build the individual muscle fibers, and this has huge benefits. The first benefit is that increasing your body's muscles or your lean muscle mass means that your muscles require more energy every minute, every day, 24 hours a day, whether you are awake or asleep. The amount of energy we consume is what we call your metabolic rate. The higher or more optimum your metabolic rate is, the more energy you consume and the less fat you store at rest. The second benefit of strength training is that studies show that people who do strength training regularly are less likely to become disabled with age. There was a study done at Tufts University a number of years ago. I'll never forget it. It was in a book called Biomarkers. Evans and Rosenberg were the authors, and they tried to come up with 10 markers of aging. What were the top 10 markers that could be tested to find out whether somebody was aging gracefully? Because we all will age, guys. It's just whether or not it's going to be accelerated aging. Accelerated aging is the manifestation of an illness or a disease or a loss of body function or control or pain or disability or impairment or something like that. And what they found was that the amount of percentage of muscle mass that was developed in a person that was 86 to 92 years old that was confined to a wheelchair, a bunch of these tests were done, it was to the same degree that would be found when a young person would strength train. So age no longer becomes an issue. What they also found was that the loss of muscle mass was the #1 marker of aging in their minds. Of the 10, the loss of muscle mass was the #1 marker. And we measure this in the office with several different ways. We have something called the ES Tech, which is our Cadillac version of body assessment. We have the Creating Wellness Assessment, which is our way to help you manage that through the Wellness Quotient. And then the third one is the bioimpedance test. And the bioimpedance test is one that's just a very simple test that we can talk about at the very end of this presentation. The BIA is a test that looks at cellular function, and part of that looks at strength percentages, muscle percentages and body fat percentages. But cardio and strength training increases also, number 3, cardio and strength training increases the production of growth hormone in the body, which can slow the aging process. All right. Both our physical appearance and our physical performance can be improved by muscle gain or hampered by muscle loss. Research indicates that unless we strength train regularly, we lose about 1/2 pound of muscle every year of our lives after age 30. And unless we implement a safe and effective weightlifting program, our muscles gradually decrease in size and strength in the process called atrophy. Lifting weights is therefore important for preventing the muscle loss that normally accompanies the aging process. A common misconception, guys, is that as we reach the age of senior citizens, it is normal to stop being active and to start using ambulatory aids like canes and wheelchairs. Many people think we have no choice. They think this is normal. But this couldn't be further from the truth, as I explained earlier, because there's absolutely no reason why all of us can't be physically, mentally, socially, and sexually active, living a healthy, vibrant life until our last days on Earth. The reason many elderly people rely on ambulatory aids and become slower and fatter is simply that over the years their muscles have been wasting away, so their physical performance and metabolism also decreases, becoming less efficient. Here's a picture of Dr. Bob Damontague in 2008 at the age of 89. Unbelievable. 1 year before his 90th birthday. Incredible. But if I do strength training, I'll look like Arnold. Guys, I often hear women say that they don't want to try strength training because they don't want to get big and bulky like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The good news is that it just won't happen. Women don't have the testosterone levels required to get that big. And to get that big, you've got to really take a lot of the illegal male hormones or steroids to get there. So not to worry. It's not going to be a problem. Let's discuss what a high metabolic rate really means to you. One of the many advantages of strength training is that it increases lean muscle mass. A greater lean muscle mass positively impacts the efficiency of our metabolism to burn calories. Here's an example. Two women both weigh 150 pounds. Woman number 1 has 36% body fat and 98 pounds of muscle. Woman number 2 has 22% body fat and 118 pounds of muscle. The one with higher muscle mass will burn more calories. So even though the two women are the same weight, the one with the higher muscle mass will be able to have a higher calorie intake than the other woman while maintaining her weight. That's incredible. So weight loss and strength training. If your goal in strength training is weight loss, then there's something you need to understand about strength training. There are two types of muscle cells in the body. Type 1 or slow twitch used in cardio exercise, and type 2 or fast twitch used in resistance training. Type 1 muscle only requires energy during use. Type 2 requires a continual source of energy to be maintained whether you are exercising or not. So what does this mean in plain English? If you want to burn fat 24 hours a day instead of only while you're exercising, add resistance or weight training to your program. It's that simple. Dr. Wayne Westcott, PhD, conducted a study in which 72 overweight individuals participated in an 8-week exercise program. The participants were placed in two groups. The first group performed 30 minutes of endurance exercise on a stationary bicycle. The second group performed only 15 minutes of exercise on a stationary bicycle, plus an additional 15 minutes of weight resistance exercises. At the conclusion of the study, the endurance-only group lost a total of 3.5 pounds, 3 pounds of which was fat, and half a pound of muscle loss. On the other hand, the endurance and the weight resistance group lost 8 pounds with an actual fat loss of 10 pounds and an increase of 2 pounds of lean body mass. So which would you rather have? Which would you rather see? A loss that's greater with more muscle mass change? Exactly. That's the reason why. So strength training is the key to any weight loss program. So in case you didn't understand what I just said, here it is again in graph form. As you increase lean muscle mass, you increase your metabolism 24/7. The greater energy requirement means greater fat loss. So you can see here in the two groups, the endurance training only group is on the left of the graph, and the endurance and weight training group is on the right of the graph. You can see that the lean body mass in yellow, which is the actual muscle mass, increased, while the person that did not do any endurance or weight training actually lost lean body mass, which you don't want to do. That's really not what you want to do. So their total loss of weight in the red was actually contributed to not just by the fat loss, but also by the lean body mass loss. Whereas the endurance and weight training lost way more fat, gained a little bit of lean mass to negate a little bit of the total loss of weight, but you can see that the overall benefit was superb as a result. Okay, so what types of strength training are there? Well, you can use free weights, dumbbells and barbells, resistance machines, body weight exercise, which I like to see happen. I use something called a TRX system, and we can get those for you in the clinic. Kettlebells are good. Strength band resistances are good. Core ball exercises, yoga, tai chi. These are all things that are excellent depending upon your knowledge base and your starting point, and also your history of injury. Guys, it's never too late. A small study, which is what I referred to earlier, showed that, and we got some stats here, that 90-year-old plus nursing home residents in an 8-week study, 9 of them finished the program, and those 9 experienced an average gain in strength of 174%, which is spectacular. Their thigh muscles increased a size of 9%, and their walking speed increased by 48%. So what did this translate into? It translated into even changes in experiences related to the pain of arthritis. Tufts University recently completed a strength training program with older men with knee arthritis. The results showed that strength training decreased pain by 43%, increased muscle strength and general physical performance, improved symptoms of the disease, and decreased disability. In the study, resistance training was just as effective, if not more effective, than medications for easing pain. It's important. Restoration of balance. As people age, poor balance and flexibility contribute to falls and broken bones. Resistance exercise increased flexibility and balance, which decrease the likelihood and severity of a fall. It also strengthens your bone. Postmenopausal women can lose 1 to 2% of their bone mass every year. Results from studies showed that resistance training increases bone density and reduces the risk for fractures. Proper weight maintenance. Strength training is crucial to weight control because more muscle means a higher metabolic rate. Muscle is active tissue that consumes calories while fat uses very little energy. Strength training is extremely helpful for weight loss and long-term weight control. But there's more. Studies show that resistance training has a profound impact on helping older adults manage diabetes. So in a recent study, resistance training produced dramatic improvements in blood sugar that are comparable to taking medications. In addition, men and women in the study were stronger, gained muscle, lost body fat, had less depression, and felt more confident. Strength training provides similar improvements for depression as antidepressant medications. Currently, it is not known if this is because people feel better when they are stronger, or if strength training produces a helpful biochemical change in the brain. It is most likely both. Here's something. People who exercise regularly fall asleep more quickly, sleep more deeply, awaken less often, and sleep longer. As with depression, the sleep benefits obtained as a result of resistance training are comparable to treatment with medications, but without the side effects or the expense. And guys, the last one here, studies have prompted the American Heart Association to recommend resistance training as a way to reduce risk of heart disease and as therapy for patients in cardiac rehabilitation programs. Scientific research has shown that resistance exercise can slow the aging clock. Studies have shown that lifting weights 2 or 3 times a week increases strength by building muscle mass and bone density. Guys, a 12-month study conducted on postmenopausal women showed 1% gains in hip and spine bone density, 75% increase in strength, and 13% increase in balance in just 2 days per week of strength training. The control group had losses in bone strength and balance. Strength training can also have a profound effect on reducing falls, the #1 cause of death in the elderly. So what's an ideal exercise plan? Because I'm asked this question all the time. Exercise plans will be different for each of you depending upon your needs and your desired outcomes. But let me introduce a schedule that I consider to be the minimum workout schedule to create wellness in your life. There needs to be cardiovascular function, that's in our earlier program, at 150 minutes per week. Strength training, a minimum of 1 set of 8 to 12 repetitions, each of 10 exercises that work all the major muscle groups to fatigue, done at least 2 days a week for 30 minutes. Stretching before and after each cardio or strength workout, and work the core 5 minutes a day. This is a very simple process and very easy to work through. Rules for strength training. Well, there needs to be some type of warm-up and cool-down. You just can't jump into it, and this cannot be stressed enough. Most workout-related injuries can be avoided by proper warm-up and cool-down. Your muscles need 5 to 15-minute warm-up as well as a brief cool-down. This holds true for all weight training workouts. And the idea here is to get a little bit of your blood pumping before you actually, and some stretching before you actually do the workout. If you begin weight training to a high level, you risk serious injury. So you need to start at the appropriate level. You will also develop poor form, which will hinder your efforts and discourage you. Use a weight that's appropriate. And what I talk about and the way I train patients is that you should be able to lift the weight at least 15 times. You start off lifting a weight that you can do between 6 and 8 times comfortably. And as you do that weight, whatever that is, for 6 to 8 times, you try and do that for 3 different sets if it is possible, if you feel comfortable with that. There should not be any joint pain as you're doing it. But as you become stronger, you're going to be able to facilitate a greater number of repetitions per set. Now that could come in the first set or the third set, and you have to try and modify this. If you have any questions, give me a call at 905-629-0688 or send me an email. You can get a hold of me through the website at drdave@mosaiclifecare.com, and I can help to work you through this. But the idea here is that as you begin to use a weight, your repetitions will increase in number because your strength increases. And you remain at whatever weight you've started at that you can comfortably do 3 sets of 7 to 8 repetitions until you're able to do 3 sets of 15 repetitions. Then you increase your weight and you drop back down to the 7 or 8 repetitions for that grouping of 3 different sets. Does that make sense? So let's say, for example, I'm doing bicep curls. I've never done exercise before, and I find that a 10-pound dumbbell is fine for me to do it 7 or 8 times. I will use that 10-pound dumbbell as long as is necessary, that as I train, my strength allows me to be able to do 3 sets of 15 repetitions. So the first set I might be able to do, or the first as I begin in the first weeks or months of my program, I'm doing the repetitions 8 times, I'm putting the weight down, I'm doing it 8 more times, I'm putting it down, I'm doing it 8 more times after a rest of maybe a minute or 2 between the sets. Now as I get stronger, maybe I can try and get to 9 with the first one, and then 8 and 8, or 10, 9 and 8, or 12, 10 and 8 in terms of the repetitions for the 3 sets. But when I get to the ability to do 15, 15, 15 with good form, without pain, and I'm comfortable with that, then I can maybe increase my weight to 15 pounds, which is usually what the next dumbbell load level is. But I would decrease my reps back down to the 7 or the 8 again. And then I would work my way back up through this. This is a very simple strategy at gradually increasing your body's training capacity without over damaging the joint, which will be typically where the problems occur. The proper technique must be worked with. You want to use the large muscles first, which means chest or back or legs. What you want to do then is progress gradually, as I just talked about. You'll see that here. Need you to breathe correctly. That's going to be important. And then you need to challenge the muscles. So it should be progressive, as I talked about. And give your muscles at least a 48-hour rest before you do the exercise again. That's very important. Now, it's often fun to train with a partner, somebody that can watch your form, somebody that can help you, somebody that can motivate you, somebody that can challenge you. So that's also something that you might want to consider. Guys, this has been a great time talking to you about what it means to work through strength training. I am a personal trainer and a strength and conditioning specialist with the National Strength and Conditioning Association. And so if there's anything that you ever need from me at any time, it's only my pleasure to help you in any way that I can. And so please call the office again at 905-629-0688 or get on the internet and send me an email at drdave@mosaiclifecare.com, and let's get connected, okay? Thank you very much for your time, and look forward to talking to you about core training next for this month. The next video is on core training, and look forward to talking to you about that. Bye for now.